say anything important up to now, so I start again.
Teach it.
I start again. The be and suck the nectar from what you are getting here, and be open for what I'm presenting. I have material for you, and I think I divide it for the groups. For everyone, it's enough. You take one sheet of paper, and all the relevant information is on the paper. But I also invite you to look in front and not to read so much. But you can follow all the presentation by this way. So as you see, my profession is psychologist and economist, and this is also a part of what I'm doing here. The first thing I want to say is I think we are in a fundamental crisis, still in a fundamental economic crisis, since around 2000, not since 2008, but since 2000. Economy and business still show extreme ups and downs. We have still an anti-human tendency. I have to be provocative, I heard. Economy and business still use persons as cheap production factors, but not as human beings. We have a reality of antagonisms and contradictions. Human rights and democratic society, question mark, are they found in organizations? Is that it is a sign for the inefficiency of humanistic organizational development work up to now? What did we change up to now in organizations? The temptation for consultants is to discount the situation, what means the antagonisms, the contradictions. Another temptation is to support the ruling ideology that could be the neoliberal ideology, but also other ideologies. Another temptation is to prefer the individual psychological way because of the difficulties of the configurations. So we have a norm to be humanistic, and if you think about configurations, what means that there are very different constellations in organizations that lead to performance and to work satisfaction. There are more than one ways to Rome. Is it okay in English? Yeah. So, what are the consequences? We have to bring more than warm words. Humanistic ideas have to be implemented in institutional and structural changes. That is also a topic that Thomas will talk about tomorrow. Then systemic consultants have to face economic processes and not to be blind to human realities. And have to be independent, humanistic and holistic rather than own business oriented. I know a lot of consultancies that they do everything the company wants, only to make money with it. So, to be concrete, what is a typical organization? You find it on the paper too. There are perfect roles and a perfect business process in it. Everyone does the right thing, and the production means are constructed very well. And you can choose what's the best position here, to sit here and to smoke a cigarette or whatever, or to hold him at the skin. What do you like? How can we fix the system? How can we get information about the system? And I developed the structure and the system to assess a system, and with 4 levels. The first level we look at is the organizational structure, and the first thing in the organizational structure is attention. Then we look at roles, at relations. Then the organizational processes, communication, problem solving, and success. Typical processes you find in each organization. Then we look at typical systemic frames, the balances, what are equilibriums of the organization. What was in the past? Are there some historical sides of the organization where it was very, very beautiful in the organization? So what's about visions of the organization? The thought equilibriums. Then we look at recursivity. That means like in the what is it called, the babushka, or the Russian puppet, where you find at different levels the same principles. Well, we know from Stafford Beer, a famous British organizational developer, that organizations are more efficient if the principles are similar that you find in an organization. Then we look at pulsation, outside pulsation and inside pulsation. That means the borderlines and the boundaries of the organization. That is a further development of Eric Berne's concept of the boundaries. So let me give an example for attention, for example. If you have a company with 2,000 employees and there enter some McKinsey consultants, the company, and then the employees start to talk about that. Only half an hour a day. And to give a German example, maybe a working hour in Germany costs 60 euro for the company. Then if 2,000 members, employees, half an hour a day, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes there, talk about this kind of stuff, about their fears, that makes 2,000 half an hour, and 60 euro, how much is it?
A lot.
A lot. How much is it? Yeah.
60,000.
Yeah, 60,000. That means it is a one working place for a whole year in one day in this company. So attention costs money. Therefore, attention is very important. Another perspective on attention is to have the holistic perspective. We have that in TA since Berne and Mount and Davidson, Balling, and the book with Thomas. I also would like to quote Bernd Schmidt, as we talked about the health of an organization yesterday. Bernd defined the health of an organization as a product of integration and integrity. What means that the organization brings integration, the capability of an organization to fit all relevant aspects, and also integrity, the capability of an organization to integrate human beings and to create meaning. And you know, from a product, if one of the factors is zero, then the product is zero. You can't add these factors. I want to give an example for the role perspective. The role is defined as a coherent system of attitudes, feelings, and behavior. Up to now, it's a definition of the ego state. And added the perspective on reality and the accompanying relationships. It started with the private role, organizational role, and professional role. We meanwhile added two other roles. The community role. How are you engaged in politics or in a citizen initiative or something else, a Lions Club or ATTAC or whatever. Then the consumer role. I think it's very important how a manager behaves in terms of consuming. What is his model that he gives to his employees, how to get along with environment and all this kind of things. Then I would like to give a taste of the dynamics of success. I have a quote of Gunther Schmidt, who will come this afternoon. He says, the mothers and fathers of an organization are the goals. That are not persons, that are goals. That is different. Rosemary talked about the it yesterday. There's something different in an organization than in a only people community. Two TA concepts at this point, the physis concept of Eric Berne. I have it, I made it with question marks. I don't know whether organizations are really healthy or are striving for survival and growth. You can have this hypothesis, but it could be different. Then Berne said there are process scripts. These are very interesting for organizations. How do organizations produce success? How do they deal with success? Or have they never success? What is in an organization? Then, as we talked yesterday in a last example or prior last about TA and equilibriums. As Renato told, where are you, Renato? There. Very important in a change process is to look at Eric Berne's 3S, stimulus, stroke, and structure. And I also added the need for leadership, which Eric Berne proposed in one of his books, and added the survival drive, expression drive, and quiescence drive of Vanita English. And you can look in every change process, what is the, as a project manager, for example, where is the organization? What kind of words do you hear? What do the people do in the moment to assess what is about the change process in the in a moment, and then to intervene at this point. A last example for the inside pulsation of today is the article of Anita Mountain, also in the book Growth and Change, about gender subsystems. And she says a very important subsystem in organizations today is the subsystem of men and women. And she says their women face class cliffs or so-called class ceilings. They are not written down, but they are really existing if you go in a certain direction. Very interesting, and that is also a perspective. We can take this TA concept. By the way, I define TA as what TA people are doing, not what was written in Berne's books. I think that is too conservative. And Anita's concept really good describes what is with the gender subsystems in organizations. So I come to an end now. We use the 4-Zoom model and structured interventions. I think Thomas will talk about that tomorrow. In 4 steps. First, the work of an organizational consultant is to assess the system dynamics, the relevant dynamics. I mentioned all 10 and gave you a taste of some of them. And if you can find 2 relevant system dynamics of these 10 and intervene in some kind of work, then you get an effect. That's a kind of fractal consulting that spreads to the other dynamics and dimensions too. And there is a D missing, Thomas' concept of the contracted fields. Maybe you will talk about that too. The second step is to define the change role. What is the really important change role? Is it to get a new architect for the space problem, as Sylvie said, or is it a conversations specialist or whatever, or is it a hygiene specialist? Because I was in a company, they had rats in some offices, and they had it couldn't be worked out with talking, so you get different interventions. Then you need the next aspect is an intervention architecture, because you have several roles at this point. Maybe if you have a change process and a consultancy, there is a Conant-Ashby theorem. Maybe you know that the regulator of the system, also the consultancy of the system, must reflect somehow the complexity of the system. Therefore, you have to have an architecture. And I think that is the main reason for TA people. That is also provocative. Only a few TA people work as consultants. Most work as coaches, as trainers, but not as consultants, because it is very hard to get this parallel organization to influence an organization. And there McKinsey and Boston Consulting is better than we are. Then the next level is the wording level. I had to learn a lot about that, because as I started as a coach and consultant, I agreed with a manager that he talks to his employee, but that's not the solution. You have to train what are really the words that he says to his employee. The specific media, it doesn't have to be wording, it could be different. So the exercise I would like to invite you to if you want to discuss something, is choose an organization you are in or working with. Where is the attention of the people in the organization focused to? Where's the attention? What do they really do? What is in the actions and the mental models of the people? Are they committed to what is written down, the goals, or what are they really doing? Then it's more a personal question. How are you in the moment in the role worlds? Maybe you have it on the paper with the 5 or take even 3 role worlds. What are you thinking about that in your world? And then you come back to this organization. How is success defined in this organization? What is the real success? Is it not to be detected, or not to be detected with a failure or with a mistake, or what is the real success defined in this organization? Because that is often very, very different. So, thank you.
We have 20 minutes in the groups to address this. Can you leave it up, that last?
Thank you first.
Ist er drin? Einfach zurückdrücken.
Ja, ich versuche das, aber es geht nicht.
The questions.
Ah.
Thank you.